Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the All Four Downs podcast with Hector V and myself, Ovi1. It is the NFL Week 14, and
Yes.
five more games left of the NFL, and we're getting closer to the playoffs. We
Mhm.
have some clinching, we have some elimination, and we got those teams in the bubble. We got so much going on already in the NFL. The question is, which teams are going to remain contenders and which teams will fall in that trap for the draft? Hector, man, what a wonderful and outstanding weekend of football we had. Not only just the NFL, but in college too. The college is getting ready for the conference championship this weekend. And when we know that's going on, the road to the playoffs in the NFL is happening. My question for you is, who's hot and who's not? Pick one each. Let's go.
Who's hot? The Detroit Lions.
Mm.
I just think they're the hottest team in the NFL right now. You can have an argument with that, and I think there's only one other team that you probably can argue that with, which I would agree with. Who's not? Man, I mean, that's kind of tough. If you're looking at the playoff picture and you're talking about who's not hot, I mean, I could say the Houston Texans. It's kind of borderline, but I mean, look at these teams that are going into the playoffs. To me, they're not hot. They're not hot right now.
They're not hot.
They're just limping into this situation right now, especially with the state of their division that they're playing in.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, you talking about a team that well, actually was performing a lot better last season
Yeah,
compared to this season, but
yeah,
then again, the Texans did end up getting hot just about this time. Now is the month of December, and usually the teams that you have unexpected, they go all out, go like win every weekend of the month of December just to make a lot of noise. And
right.
that's what the Texans did because remember last year it was the Jacksonville Jaguars at this
Yes.
moment in
Hmm.
first place getting ready for the playoffs, and then
Yes.
all of a sudden the Texans came out of nowhere, right?
Right. Yep.
I'm gonna say the hottest to me, and I didn't want to steal the Detroit Lions because I agree with you 100%. But the Buffalo Bills
There
are
you
just
go.
on fire,
That's the
right?
team that I was thinking about. That
hmm
you can have an argument, a big argument on who is the
But
hottest right now.
they're only hot at home. They're 6-0 at home. They know how to play at home, and I do know that the weather has an advantage. Okay, they know how to play in the snow. They know how to play in the cold weather.
Right.
They are set. The thing is that I don't trust the Bills when they're on the road, especially on the playoffs. Yes, they won 7 in a row, right? But knowing the history of the Bills, I'm just not putting that much faith into them. Okay,
Well, you're right because their only two losses were on back-to-back road games
right.
against Baltimore and Houston, and so you're right. I mean, if they're not at home, then yeah, it's going to be a disaster. But it looks like if the way things could go, it could be the road to Buffalo. If
If the Chiefs will lose, but it just seems
Yeah.
like everybody's giving the Chiefs these victories, right?
Hmm.
But besides that, and again, that's a later topic, real quick.
Hmm.
When we go ahead to hit the standings, the not which is very surprising this year is the San Francisco 49ers. I
Hmm.
mean, I had them highly. Now they just look like they're just falling apart, but not so much as the injuries concerned. I don't know. I think that many teams now that they play San Francisco that they know the game, the gameplay. They know the system. And
Yeah.
I think something they need to add more flavor for the 49ers. Um and especially that Seattle is in the lead there, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
again, we'll cover, yeah, Seattle's in first place. It is still a tight race in
Yeah.
the NFC West and in the NFC South. That's
Yeah.
crazy, right? Because remember, Seattle got 7 wins. the Cardinals and the Rams 6 wins, and then the Falcons and the Buccaneers are tied in first place in the NFC South, 6-6. So it's
Yeah.
like it's a tight race all the way. Don't really the only teams that are running away right now, and I'll tell you in the AFC is Buffalo and Kansas City. Okay. And then
Yeah.
in the NFC, you got the Eagles, you got the Lions and Vikings. So other than that, I mean, everybody else, and I feel like right now, the month of December, because some of these races are tight, that I got a feeling that they're gonna have more momentum because they're that hungry to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah. And when I look when you talk about the Falcons and the Buccaneers being tied, I would think at this point going into Week 14 that Tampa Bay be a little stronger than Atlanta, but Atlanta owns the tiebreaker since they beat them both times this year. And
Yeah.
so it's still going to be a tough road for Atlanta, for Tampa Bay to jump over Atlanta. Going down the stretch. I mean, Atlanta could be limping themselves into the playoffs of all possibilities. We don't know. We'll see
Right.
how this week goes.
Go ahead and take a look at the AFC playoff standings. Kansas City already clinched. Buffalo already clinched to the playoffs. And like I said, that's two so far this early in the season. And the Patriots, Jaguars, and Raiders, all three have been eliminated. So they could always play spoiler or just go ahead and dip very low to see if they could get to the point where they get the number one draft pick. But there's still plenty of football to go for that to happen. In the top four, you have the Chiefs, Bills, the surprising Steelers, and the Texans. I I guess I have to put the respect on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really do because I thought because they didn't play any division games, they're playing a light schedule. It's almost like I'm talking about the strength of schedule, right?
Right.
But the Steelers are playing their games, and yeah, they might have fallen to the Browns, but they take care of everybody else. They're 93 for a reason. I got to put the respect on that.
And it's crazy you said it because the Steelers are playing good football. I mean, this is going to be their fourth consecutive division game they're playing this week. And I did tell you earlier that Houston is not my hot team. They're on the not list. But you looked at they only separate one game between the Steelers and the Texans. You know, can we honestly say that the Steelers have a good chance of maybe catching Kansas City for that number one spot?
No, I don't think the Steelers to catch up to the Bills or the Chiefs. I for the remaining games. I mean, of course, mathematically they can. I don't think they'll be the number one seed. I don't think they'll reach up there, just because the offense is not always. I don't think the offense is still that strong. However, that defense does carry the Steelers. I believe that the Pittsburgh defense is the number one defense in the NFL. That's just my opinion.
Well,
You could people
the,
could say about the Chiefs or the Bills or whatever, but I still feel like that's the team.
the Steelers still got to play the Chiefs this year on Christmas Day.
And you know what? That's great, honestly. But if you look at how the Chiefs are playing, the
Yeah.
Chiefs are not playing like Super Bowl contenders.
No, they're not. I mean, they could easily be on the 500 the way things are going.
You said it
But
yourself from week one. It started with the toe,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden, the rest is history, right? Chiefs are 11-1. Bills are 11-2. The
10.
Steelers are 9-3. I'm sorry, did I mess that up?
Yeah,
Bills 10-2. Excuse me. And then the Texans 8-5. Top four divisions. Looking at the wild card, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Broncos. I mean, I was dissing the Broncos, and yet Bo Nix is getting better every week.
yeah.
So I'm all in for the Broncos to make it to the playoffs.
I do too. I think they have a solid foundation going week by week here. You can't trust Indianapolis. Miami's falling off. It's getting a little too late for Cincinnati in the game to make a run at it, in my opinion.
You
So,
say that. You say that. But what if the Bengals win out?
then I
I
guess,
just say, yeah.
well, it could, it's possible. I mean, things, tired of things has happened before. but they do have to play the Broncos later on this year. So we'll see if that game even matters at that point.
Yeah.
If the Bengals make a little run going into that Bronco game and beat the Broncos, now we're talking about yes, the Bengals sliding into that 7th spot.
Look, if the Bengals are sliding in, well, I know for a fact the Browns, the Jets, the Titans, they're definitely done.
Yeah,
I think the Bengals have a better chance than the Dolphins. I'm gonna say that right there. But then again, you know what? What's similar between the Dolphins and the Bengals? Neither team have defense. That's the biggest problem. They play along with the other team, right?
right.
So on the other side, you got the NFC where the Lions are running away with it, and so are the Philadelphia Eagles. And to be honest with you, between the Lions and Eagles, you said the Lions are the hottest team, but I think the Eagles got the Lions beat. I mean, we were riding the Eagles out the way all this dilemma that was going on at the beginning. That they didn't have a great start, but if you look at them now, 10-2. I mean, there it's a lot, right? Um, but I got a feeling maybe the Eagles can make the run and take the number one seed. They're not out of the picture either. And then the Minnesota Vikings are at 10-2. The Lions and the Vikings, all I'm gonna say, they still got to play again, right?
Yes, yes,
So there's plenty of football. And on top of that, tonight you have, which is about to start, the Lions and the Packers. So there's just so much going on there. But Lions 11-1, Eagles 10-2, the Seahawks 7-5, the Atlanta Falcons in 6-6. Out of all these teams, the only team really eliminated right now mathematically is the New York Giants. Plain and simple.
right.
Well, I do expect Carolina to get eliminated,
Yes,
and I think if the Bears will lose, they probably join the club. So there's a lot to this. We'll get started because the game's about to start.
yes.
The Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. Packers 9-3, the Lions 11-1. I'm gonna go right off the back. And look, I've been on point on these Thursday night games. And it just seems like whatever happens in the fourth quarter, I keep listening to the guy at the red zone saying it's the witch hour. And it's somehow it goes against me. But I'm guaranteeing right now that the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Detroit Lions. Book it.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that's a bad pick because I'm on board with you there. I just see something in this game that the last time the Packers haven't lost since their last meeting earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, okay, and the Lions. Let me see, and then
Yeah, they lost to the Tampa Bay Bucks back in September 15th.
yeah, yes, it was back in
Mm-hmm.
September. I was gonna say too because when you talk about the Eagles earlier, both the Lions and the Eagles haven't lost since September.
Right.
Okay, you
And,
know,
and that game between the both of them was a close game, despite that the score was 24-14. Um, but I just got a feeling that Green Bay can't prevail, and I don't really think the Lions. It's funny to say this, but I just need the Lions to lose a game to get their confidence back to
right?
continue to win. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
want them to lose in the playoffs.
no,
I want them to go to the Super Bowl.
right. No, I get you, and they do got a
Mhm.
tough schedule going ahead. But even if they lose tonight, I don't think that hurts them one bit. I don't think that puts a scare in them, no matter what Philadelphia does on Sunday. To be honest with you,
Right.
I have more confidence and more faith in Detroit than I do Philadelphia at this point. Okay,
Mm.
offensively and defensively. So this game to me doesn't hurt them. I am going for the Packers also tonight. The only thing is that what happened last time when they played, there was a lot of too many drops and too many penalties on Green Bay's part, and I
Right.
think that's what lost them the game. But they held the Lions to like I think about 120 yards, rushing yards or something. I think yards period. So they shut them down. It's just that they made mistakes on their offensive side. If they clean that up today, they're in the dome. There's no weather factor. Okay, you're under the bright
Absolutely.
lights. That should help them out. I mean, I know Detroit's a little bit banged up. I'm not going to use that as an excuse because they know how to make things happen. But I think Green Bay pulls this one out, and this was a tough pick for me.
Detroit had they had to rush 32 times to rush over 100 yards.
Right.
But Jordan Love did throw an interception in that game. He didn't have a great game. And I know that was even him coming back from injury, if I'm not mistaken. So
Mhm.
plenty to go by in this game. And again, I mean, we're we're looking, I guess, a lot of directions on this, but
And,
we're hopeful that Green Bay wins. I
and
didn't
Green,
know that you were going for Green Bay, but
yeah, Green Bay
I
is
thought I
four
was
and
gonna
one.
get you.
No, Green Bay is 4-1 on the road this year.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I like that. I do like this. I like that.
All
I like
right.
that.
We'll move on to the games on Sunday. We'll start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. This game is definitely, hopefully, it's a little warmer than here in New England. Um, but you know what? When the winter happens, it happens. But Trevor Lawrence is probably out for the season.
Right.
He's on the IR.
Hmm.
Will Levis is the starting quarterback, but you got Mac Jones as the backup quarterback. And how much can you rely on Mac Jones, knowing that we know him from New England? Now he has an opportunity to shine, but I just don't think that the Jaguars have what it takes. I'm taking the home team on this one. The Tennessee Titans pick up a victory.
Yeah. There's not much analytics to this game for me. I'm taking the home team. I'm taking the Titans. I think Will Levis. If you want me to throw anything out there, Will Levis is what, 2 interceptions in his last 4 games. I think that's pretty impressive on his behalf. I mean, so I'm just going with the home team here. I don't trust Mac Jones to come in just to start this game and light it up. So yeah.
Light it up, light it up. I don't know. I had this song in my head, and then it went away, and then I just decided to say it that way. I don't know. Oh, my bad, my bad. All right, fair enough. Let's go ahead and move on to something else because I'm definitely not going to sing the New York tunes on this one.
Oh,
The Jets go on the road to the Dolphins, which is going to be a little warmer for Aaron Rodgers, knowing that his the one thing I don't like about Aaron Rodgers, he every week he has to go to the Pat McAfee show and say whatever he has to say, and really I feel like that's not a respectable character, especially you try to show your leadership for your team, saying like he doesn't have to prove anything. Yes, you do got to prove it. You have to prove yourself that you still got what it takes to become a quarterback.
yeah.
Okay. Just because you did something in the past, listen, you only got one Super Bowl win. Okay. I am so tired of the media trying to crown Aaron Rodgers every single year. Okay. It's almost like from the AFC, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
What have you done to prove yourself you are an elite? Because you
Right.
could throw the ball, you got good talent around you. Aaron Rodgers has talent and still cannot deliver. Okay. And if you're going to just rely on MVP awards, then you're garbage because Tom Brady is the best quarterback. And why he's the best quarterback? Because he was the one that not only won in New England, he went to Tampa Bay and won.
First year.
Okay. First year. And is anybody else ever done that? No. Sorry.
Usually when
Patrick,
you usually when you
no.
change teams, you go downhill.
Right. Remember, what's his name? Joe Montana changed from 49ers to the Chiefs. Yet got him to the playoffs, but they didn't win. But he was already declining, but yet he was still moving that team. You see what I'm saying? What's Aaron Rodgers doing for the Jets?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And had it been,
So,
and it's any other team in this situation, they already benched their starter. Look at the New York Giants. Not only did
yeah.
they bench their starter, they got rid of him
And they
out of New
still
York.
paying him.
You
That's
know,
all
so
I'm saying.
this makes
Yeah.
no sense that Aaron Rodgers is still the starter. You cannot salvage this 3-9 record. So there's lost hope for the Jets. So I don't even know why we even talk about Aaron Rodgers. Give me the Dolphins to win this game. They've won the last 8 home meetings in this series. Okay, and Double T is 4-0 as a starter against the New York Jets. So give me the
All right.
Dolphins
I
to win
love
this
it.
game. The bounce back from being cold. Now they're back in sunny California, sunny Miami with the pina coladas and the suntan lotion.
Oh, no. Stop with the lotion. Stop with the lotion.
Look,
All right.
give me the Dolphins.
Jets and the Dolphins. Again, I got the Dolphins as well. Moving on. Atlanta Falcons versus the
Ooh,
Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is I don't even think this is a revenge game, but Kirk Cousins returns to Minnesota. It's a great story. I'm curious to see how he is being welcomed, even though he hasn't done much for the Vikings because they didn't win anything, but they had hopes. The Vikings, the last 5 games has been dominant, but I can't not say the same for the Falcons. The Falcons have lost 3 in a row. The Saints, the Broncos, the Chargers. Now you're going against the hot Vikings right now. And what can I say? I don't think there's anything that the Falcons have, especially being on the road to Minnesota. I'm taking the Vikings.
yeah, I'm taking the Vikings too. I just want to see the Vikings pick up this offense just a little bit more. Yeah, Kirk Cousins struggled on offense. He threw about what 3-4 interceptions last week against the Chargers. You can't do that against this team. And even if it's a close game, Sam Darnold seems to be mastering the one-score games in this. With the Vikings, that's why they're 10-2 for a reason. So yeah,
Mhm.
I like the Vikings.
All right. Moving on to the Saints and the Giants. Now, everyone's going to say clean sweep the Saints over the Giants, but I do got to tell you that the Giants do play very well when they go against David Carr. And if you remember when he was with the Raiders, the Giants were able to slow him down, prevent him for airing the ball all the time. I know this is a different set of coaches, but it shouldn't matter because it just seems like the Giants got the game plan for David Carr. But I cannot defend the Giants on this one because if we could have an offense that could probably score over 20 points, then I can be like, yo, Giants got this game. Eventually, I can't do that. So I'm picking the Saints to beat the Giants.
Well, I was kind of impressed that Drew Lock gave the Giants 20 points last week on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so there was some kind of promise there that we can score, we can get into the end zone, and we have a quarterback who's not afraid to run the ball. But the Giants are averaging 10 points a game at home. They have not won a game at home. I cannot trust this team to do anything this year for the remainder of this year. So give me the struggling Saints over the disappointing, decimated New York Giants.
Yeah, I know. I know. Carolina Panthers at the Eagles. Talk about disappointment. Uh Bryce Young gotta be disappointed that he got drafted to the Carolina Panthers. Man, I feel sorry for that dude. But the Panthers come off a loss in overtime to Tampa Bay. They lost. They came close to beating Kansas City. I told you, man. Like there's a lot of close game for the Chiefs, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
Mhm.
Um, but these are the fly Eagles fly. They're hot. They're on fire. There's nothing that I could say that would change my mind. Look, if you're a betting man, you're gonna have to stay away from this game because the differential on this was negative 900. So
Right.
you don't want to pick them because you're not gonna earn any money. That's
Yeah.
how that's how they predicting the Eagles will run past the Panthers this weekend. Give me the Eagles.
Give me the Eagles. They're on a 8-game winning streak, and during that winning streak, they've only turned the ball over 3 times. That's impressive.
Impressive
So,
indeed. Now, moving on to probably the revenge game for the Steelers. The Browns versus the Steelers to the point where the Browns beat the Steelers a few weeks ago. Now
mhm.
they're back. They're on the road. And should I continue? Should I just pick the Browns? I mean, it seems like the Browns know how to get the Steelers. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me go back. There we go. It just seems like the Browns know how to play the Steelers. Like the only team right now that they got their numbers right. The Browns won 24-19. Great game
Yeah.
and everything else. Why not? Let's go for a sweep. I'm taking the Browns.
Okay, I respect that. I'm going to stay with the Steelers on this one because the last 3 home meetings they played against Cleveland. I mean, they've won by an average of 10 points. It was like 10 points a game or something like that. So I like the Steelers in this situation, at home, to continue pushing towards a possible number one seed. I'm just saying, just possible. Not saying they're going to do it, but again, like you said, they've proven you wrong. They've shown me a different side. Um, they know how to win with potentially two starting quarterbacks. They know, we got. It's all about the coaching. Mike Tomlin's doing a great coaching down there with two quarterbacks, and he's not
Mm-hmm.
being distracted by that. They're finding a way of winning. Yes, we know that Russell Wilson gets sacked a lot. He throws interceptions, but you got TJ Watt on the other side of the ball. That defense is just vicious. They doing their thing. So I think Pittsburgh comes out winning this game.
Okay. Browns 2-1. Steelers are 2-1 in their division. Yet the Browns are 3-9 overall. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. All right. Let me see if I got it right. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
The Raiders on the road against the Buccaneers. Dun dun
Um,
dun. What's happening? What's happening here? I don't know. I don't know, man. Both these teams, look, Bucks are 2-4 at home. The Raiders are 1-6 on the road. What's happening here? And Minshew is on the IR. You only got Mayfield as a quarterback. All these the running backs, Madison and Irving, they're all questionable. Godwin's still on the IR. I like Bowers, okay?
mhm.
And again, he is from the University of Georgia. This guy's making a statement as a tight end. But I would just wish that Bowers had a great quarterback because his numbers could go even higher. But that's another day. I mean, the Raiders have lost the last 5 games badly, except for Kansas City. They blew it against Kansas City. How do you blow the game? Oh, you just gotta be a Raider. That's all. The Bucks 2-game winning streak. They played the Giants and the Panthers. That's how they got their winning streak. So who wins?
Barely
Who
won.
loses?
They almost forced a tie in that game against Carolina last week.
Yes, sir. Yes, they did.
I mean, they
Yes, they
struggled to
did.
get back at 500. Wow. I like
And
the
it
names.
says it's a rivalry game, though. It's a rivalry game.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you can't knock that when it comes to rivalry games.
No,
But I
no.
like the names. The Raiders, the Buccaneers. It's like
It's
it's
like the Super Bowl.
it's like are they going to raid Tampa Bay or are they going to fire the ships and make them walk the plank? I like it. I wish the Raiders had a better record to make this game more
Look,
interesting.
I'm gonna stay safe on this one, and I'm just gonna take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like
Simply
the
the fact that the
Buccaneers.
Raiders has not beaten an NFC team yet.
They're gonna make the Raiders walk the plank.
All right, fair enough. Seahawks versus the Cardinals. This is very interesting to me. One, it the Seahawks are on the road. They're only 4-1. The Cardinals are defending their home turf. They're 4-2 at home. And again, playoff implications here. 7-5, 6-6. Arizona, this is a must win. Seattle, for some reason, is having a slow start in the last couple of games, and it seemed to find their way to pick it back up.
Man, did they
Okay.
ever do that last week?
Oh man. But and then out of all people, it had to be the Jets. Really? The Jets. But let's not take this away. They beat the 49ers. They already beaten the Cardinals 16-6 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Then they went ahead and beat the Jets. I'm taking look. The funny thing is, Hector, is that these teams always find a way to split.
Yeah.
Not this time. I'm taking the Seahawks over the Cardinals.
Okay. I respect that.
It's just too close to like trying to fix things. You know what I mean? So the Seahawks should be able to beat Arizona, and the fact that Kyler Murray, I'm just
I
not
know
a
you're,
fan.
you're you're not a big fan. I respect
No,
that. I'm
no.
going with the Cardinals on this one. I think they're going to clean things up from last week. The last couple of weeks when they played in Seattle, losing by 10 points. Um, I think if Kyler Murray does his little annoyance to get under your skin in this game, and get a lead on Seattle, they're not going to blow that lead like the Jets did. I'm sorry, I
Mhm.
don't think Kyler Murray is no Aaron Rodgers. He's better than Aaron Rodgers at this point in this for this
Mm,
season. So I'm taking the Cardinals for the home win here to make this division race even tighter and more interesting, and see them both at
gotcha.
7-6.
Nice. All right. The Buffalo Bills on the road against the LA Rams. The Bills have a chance to sweep the NFC West Conference. They could go
Yes,
4-0 right now, and
yes,
they will. The Bills will beat the Rams.
I like it. They're on a what 7 game winning streak. They've scored 30 or more points in 6 straight games.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's just hot news right now in offense.
Hold on for a second. Let me just focus on just the NFC West, okay? 35-10 against San Francisco.
Hmm.
Yeah. Who else is there?
Seattle, Arizona. Well, Arizona was a
Seattle
close one.
31-10.
Yeah,
Seattle.
but
Yeah.
Arizona was a close one in week 1.
That's week 1.
I
34 to
know.
28 though.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Everybody's just feeling each other out. That's what it was. But they
No,
still
it's
put their
still preseason. It's still
yeah,
pre the first 2 weeks is still preseason in my book.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. You got the Bills?
I got the Bills.
You sure about that?
I'm not going to pay the bill, but I'm going for
Oh.
the Bills.
Hell, all right. Let's see who pays off in this game. The Bears
Ooh.
versus the 49ers.
Oh. So
Yes.
so
I
I look.
know. I
You
know. I
you
know.
just you even didn't you mention it that oh no you mentioned in college I think right because the Bears fired Matt Eberflus.
Yes, they did. They fired
Yeah,
him because of time management. They had an
yeah,
opportunity to call a timeout, at least tie the game. Instead, they went ahead and threw the ball for the end zone, and the ball was even shorter than the end zone, right?
yeah.
And time expired as soon as the ball landed on the floor. And the next day, he's like, Happy Thanksgiving. See ya. Ah, wow. How do you just give a game away? That's to the Lions, really?
That's what
Really?
they do. That's what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
And I
The
was I
thing
was
is, the 49ers ain't looking pretty right now.
no, they're not looking pretty. They're not looking pretty. They're not looking pretty.
Purdy.
They're not looking pretty.
The
No,
thing is, would that elevate the Bears and play better, or is it because of time management? Yet they still like garbage. Like I don't know how to even look at this game or evaluate this game.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. If this was in Chicago, I would say the Bears will win this game.
Mhm.
But I know with all the banged up injuries that the 49ers got and Camp McCaffrey's out again.
He's out for the season.
Yeah, this time for real, he's
For
out.
real, for real.
You
Yep.
know, I just think that the 49ers still have a better roster, a better offense to score.
Yeah, but
It's
the
one
49ers lost 3 in a row, though.
yes, 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 but they don't fumble like the Bears do. I mean, we're talking about two. Talking about dumb and
Yeah, they're
dumb.
just not moving the ball anymore. That's the problem. Look, you lose to Buffalo 35-10. You lost to Green Bay 38-10. Yeah, they're both were on the road. Then you went against your rivals, Seattle, and lose 20-17, which was a great game. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess because they're home, you got a point there. But for
I
the
mean,
Bears,
the Bears.
I
When was the
mean, when's
last
the last time the Bears won?
against the Jaguars? I was just gonna say back in October
Oh,
against the
that was
Jaguars.
overseas.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're talking about
Hmm.
ever since then they lost at Washington, they lost to at Arizona, they lost at Detroit. I mean, they just can't get right on the road either. So it's like something got to give. Do we just go for a tie?
All right.
I'm going with the Niners. I
I
mean,
thought I'll take the Niners, even though I'm not
eh,
liking this pick. I'm
I
not
don't like
liking
it
this
either.
game either.
I don't like
This
it
is a
either.
game I will not bid on DraftKings. Let's put it
No.
that way. I'm
Mm-mm.
not doing it.
No.
All right. This is a game I would love to pick right here. The
Yes.
LA Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This is again, probably we're gonna get another playoff scenario. All right.
Hmm.
But for me, I think the Chiefs are on the driving seat right now. They don't really need to play hard, but at the same time, should they lose, they might not be able to have home field advantage, and that's probably why they're going to
Right.
continue at least attempt to try to play, right? And for the Chargers, look, I don't know what to expect on them. They're 8-4. They cannot afford to lose any more games. I mean, maybe, but if I was me, I I'll continue doing the best I can. How do you measure up against a Super Bowl, a two-time Super Bowl champions? How do you measure up? By playing your ass off. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay. In their last meeting, the Chargers lost 17-10, and
Yes.
this is week 4. Okay. Herbert threw 179 yards. Dobbins was there, but I don't think they got Dobbins anymore. If I'm not mistaken, they got Edwards as rushing. But even though their running game hasn't been there for the Chargers, that is the downfall of the Chargers, and that might benefit the Chiefs to win because all they do is continuously throwing the ball in the air, right?
Yeah.
But I just got a feeling that somehow it's going to sneak up on the Chiefs. I'm gambling here and I'm taking the LA Chargers.
No, I think that's a good gamble. Honestly, I'm just kind of worried about the Chargers because you look at their 8 wins. It's against mediocre teams. I mean, the only team that was on their schedule that they beaten that was worth even beating was the Broncos. Everybody else, you're talking about the Browns, you're talking about the Saints, the Falcons, teams that are just scratching the surface, barely trying to make it anywhere right now. They
Right.
had a hard fought win against the Bengals. Okay. Then they came back and had a hard fought loss against the Ravens. So you have to be able to beat teams like this caliber teams, playoff teams, if you're going to do anything.
Right.
If not, then this record is all for nothing.
And it
And
was supposed to be nice, so it's not like the Chargers are going to freeze. It's going to be 53 degrees during that game, and it's a Sunday night football game too.
yeah, yeah. It seems like Kansas City's getting all the primetime games because they're the two-time defending champions here. Um,
Yeah,
but I'm going to
man,
make this. I'm going to
that's
make
it's
this
a trick.
interesting. I'm going with the Chiefs here, but I like your pick though. I respect your pick. I like it. The Chargers need. This is a statement game for the Chargers,
Yep.
just like it is tonight for the Packers against the Lions. Okay, so both those teams are in a situation where they have to prove something, and for the Chiefs, they have to play hard because they know they got Buffalo breathing down their neck.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
they know that.
For the Chargers, they need this win because they go against Tampa Bay next week, and
Right.
then they go against Denver the week
Yes.
after. All right,
Right.
but
That's
they can still cruise the last 2 weeks because they're on the road in New England and at Las Vegas.
right.
So
So you look at
these
that as
couple
two
of
wins.
games they need to win.
So if you chalk up those two as wins, they already got 10 wins. So they got to
Right,
find a win somewhere between Tampa Bay against Denver against Kansas City. They got to at least get one, maybe a minimum of one of those.
right. All
So
right,
yeah,
moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Bengals decided to wake up. They decided to wake up and said, "Hey, we're here. Where's the party at?" And everybody was like, "Dude, you got to catch up." But this right here is a going to be a blowout. It's gonna be a blowout. Oh no, that's the wrong word. It's gonna be a shootout. Excuse me. It's gonna be a shootout. I would expect at least 60 points in this game. Cincinnati Bengals will inch by the Dallas Cowboys and win by a field goal. I'm taking the Bengals.
I'm taking the Bengals too. I'm just worried that during that 3 game losing streak that they're on, they've given up almost close to 40 points a game. That's a lot
Eh,
of points to be given up.
yeah,
And you
you're
don't want to have a
absolutely right.
shootout. You don't want to shoot out with the Cowboys because you see what happened a couple of weeks ago when the
But
Cowboys had
that's
that.
the problem with the Bengals is that they've never had a defense. Even when they went to the Super Bowl, they never really had a defense. They just got lucky to get in there. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
there was never an improvement on the defensive side of the house, and yet this is why you're there. That's why you're 4-8. It's not so much about the offense or anything else like that. It's
Right,
not about the slow start. It's like you really didn't develop your defense and you didn't acquire people to make that improvement. And that's on the management themselves in Cincinnati. And on
right.
top of that, you're trying to get these contracts for your wide receivers. You're
Yeah,
you're in a situation like who you going to please, and that's why they're at a checkmate right now or not a checkmate, they're in a stalemate to where what are we going to do moving on past this season? As the other side, the Cowboys, I thought they were tanking for a little bit, but they ended up winning 2 in a row. But, a good win against Washington, suspect against the Giants,
Yes.
but the Bengals, what are you going to that's why I said it's going to be neck to neck.
I
But my,
tell you
my pick
what,
will beat the Bengals.
if you want to watch this game, you want to see this as a fun game, tune into Disney Plus on Monday night. They're going to be featured as The Simpsons.
Are you serious?
Yes, it'll be televised on ESPN as a normal football game. But if you want to have fun with this, tune into Disney Plus at the same time
Oh, I'm
Monday
gonna have to
night,
check it out.
and we can watch it as this like they're like The Simpsons. They'll
All
be in
right.
Springfield playing football.
I'm gonna have to check it out for real.
I think I'm gonna watch it that way myself. Because remember last year
Mm.
we've had the Toy Story game between the
Oh,
Jaguars and the
okay.
Falcons.
I get you now. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right.
So for all you
Well,
football fans out there,
I know my brother's probably hearing this podcast, and he's a big Dallas Cowboy fan, but he's a very disappointed type of guy. And I remind you, and you look at this screen real quick. There's only one team with one star. That's how valuable you are. Just
Mhm.
saying.
I like
Just
it.
saying. Just saying. Sorry. Had to
That's your
throw it out
rating.
there.
That's your
That's your
rating.
rating. Yep. That's the rating they're gonna give on the Disney Plus show too. Anyhow, that will pretty much wrap up our NFL Week 14 picks. Who you got winning? And there's someone I'm gonna have to get a special guest.
Yes.
Someone is throwing a no hitter at me and putting me down. I don't know if that guest will show up, but I'm gonna tell you what.
We need to get that person on.
Yes, exactly. Let's make it happen.
Nice.
On behalf of Hector and myself, Obi-Wan, thank you for watching the All Four Dawns podcast presented by HHW Show. That show is coming up on its channel on top of the hour. And visit hhwshow.com. Thank you for listening. Take care, everyone. Gotta love some football.
Yeah.